All right. So good afternoon. It's nice to see everybody here. I think we have more participants than we did the last one, so we're going up in the trend of participants, which is good. I know I've seen a lot of individuals register for the user group. We also have the LinkedIn page that I've seen some registrants come into, so that's starting to gain some popularity. Hopefully, that we can start using that between these sessions. So, welcome to the June Tableau user group for public safety. I am Chris Correa. I'm a solutions architect. I currently work with the state police. After 22 years of being a sworn officer with the state police, I am now back contractually with them. So that's a little bit about me. And then I also have the co-sponsor, co-host Oksana Farhan, who's worked a lot with Chicago Police Department and other areas. She now owns the company called Harbor Lights Analytics. A little bit about her. This is our LinkedIn group page. We have a QR code there. So if you want to snap the QR code real quick, you can join right there to our LinkedIn group. You may or may not be automatically accepted. If not, we'll accept you once we get to it and include you into the group. But most should likely just be accepted automatically due to your affiliations with a law enforcement agency or a public safety agency of some sort. Like I said, if you registered for this user group, obviously had an option that you could register to get updates from this user group as well. So if you did not do that, I encourage everybody to go back to the user groups in the Tableau page and add yourself so you get the updates on when the next sessions are and things like that during the year.
Chris, Laura mentioned that the QR code is disabled.
Oh, good. Thank you. I will make sure that when Oksana is presenting, I'll try to fix that and try to get you guys another one to.
Yeah, maybe we'll put the link to in the chat so it's easier.
Yeah.
Thank you, Laura.
All right. So today's agenda, I'm going to go over a little bit about the Tableau conference and the announcements that were made that are coming up in the next couple quarters. We'll talk about the introduction to Tableau mapping. We'll work with some Chicago crime data. Oksana will go through and show some information about mapping with the crime data. We'll talk about spatial connections, utilizing shapefiles to connect to some things with spatial joins and intersects, using different map layers now that Tableau has multiple map layers for a couple years now. Demonstrating the spatial functions, what they are, what they mean, how to use them. And if we have some time, we'll get into some custom shapefiles, some other ways of looking at things that aren't necessarily geospatial mapping, but other types of mapping that you can do if you have an XY coordinate of things. And then we'll talk about that if time permitting. If not, we'll be pushing that to another session through the TUG. We'll try to at least deal with the basics and a lot of the information just built into Tableau with all the functions and the spatial stuff we can do. And then obviously we want to have some time at the Q&A. So that's why, if time permitting, we'll get into some of the other custom shapefile type concepts and using other GIS programs to build those files and stuff like that. So 2024 ambassadors, if you know anybody, you want them to be an ambassador for Tableau, you can nominate them. It's open until July 11th. There's the QR code. Hopefully this one is not disabled because this came directly from Tableau. But essentially ambassadors are ones that, you know, are the voice of the data fam, are out there talking about the product, doing community projects, all those types of things. So if you know anybody that's in that type of a position and they deserve to be an ambassador and be recognized as one, go ahead and nominate them. It's open until July 11th. Then I just want to go over some of the stuff about the Tableau conference. Some may have gone, some may not have. It was out in San Diego this year. I just wanted to really quickly go through some of the announcements that were made during the keynotes. If you were not able to make it, there are a ton of the presentations that were filmed and they were put on Salesforce Plus. So you can go ahead on Salesforce Plus, register, and you can see a whole bunch of the different sessions that were presented. I can tell you that a lot of these were awesome presentations. They were really well put together. It was a gamut of different types of presentations, and the hands-on was just as good. So it was a good time, but there are sessions on Salesforce Plus. All right, so what are some of the key announcements that were made? So this is essentially their roadmap up to 25.1, and where they expect to release some of the new features and whether or not they're going to be available for desktop, cloud only, server, or any of the three combined. So you'll see that Tableau Pulse, metric bootstrapping, the Linux OS support, and the prep enhancements. Also, the Tableau Desktop Public Edition with local file saving is generally available now. And then there's a beta for the Einstein Copilot. And then moving down is the list of things that are coming as we go along here. So everybody's heard of Tableau Pulse by this point, assume. It's an insight to your data using AI. And then Einstein Copilot is something that helps them basically build or create the dashboards based off of giving them what you want to do. So pretty cool concept and feature to build basic types of dashboards or basic types of sheets for a dashboard that would allow you to just say, I want to see this type of data, and it'll build you something, and then you can interact with it again and say, make it a map instead, and there you go, you get a map. So it's in beta now. So, Oksana, do you want to say anything about those two things? I know you've been...
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Tableau Pulse is only, I think you can use it with Tableau Cloud right now,
Correct.
which I know a lot of, users in public sector and public safety space, they don't have Tableau Cloud, right? They use Tableau Server, but the word is that it's Tableau Pulse is coming for Tableau Server 2, for Tableau Desktop 2, and it's so the Copilot also. So both Copilot and Tableau Pulse are coming. And as soon as they are available, I mean, the Tableau Pulse is available, and I can definitely show some of it next time around, at some point. But as soon as they are definitely available for Tableau Desktop and Tableau Server, we will do a session on both of them. But yeah, those are two kind of AI, right? AI tools that Tableau is bringing, and they're going to be kind of your own, assistant, which I think is very exciting.
All right. One thing that they did announce that everybody was excited about was the local file saving for Tableau Desktop Public Edition. So if anybody uses the Public Edition with Tableau Public, there was no local file saving before, and now they have announced the local public Tableau Public Edition local file saving. Viz extensions, this was a big one as well. Summer 24. They're coming out with this, where Viz extensions, you can basically drag and drop something in and create a Sankey diagram that was very difficult to make before. So it's a lot of different ones. I'm not sure. I think they said there was like it was up in the teens or 20s already for Viz extensions, but essentially this is going to open up a whole bunch of different types of visualizations just by using the Viz extensions, which is pretty exciting for a lot that try to get to those different types of visualizations that weren't built into the actual application. Shared dimensions is another good one. So essentially these shared dimensions, before you see like the video, and it'll flip over again, but essentially you're able to now bring in these base tables and then relate them to the other tables. So if you've used the relationships before, you couldn't do these types of relationships and joins. So this is something that a lot of people have been asking for, a lot of people are looking for. It's pretty exciting to see. So the shared dimensions should be out 2024, summer 2024. The data cloud, I don't know a whole lot about this, but essentially it looks like it's to harmonize your data from any source, bring it together, create a single view of trust, right? It doesn't have a date on here, so I'm not sure when it's going to be released. They announced expanding Databricks partnership, basically integrating closer with Databricks, one-click access, Tableau Cloud, streamlining the exploration, analysis in real time, built-in write-back and sharing functionality. So a expanded partnership with Databricks for those who may use Databricks as another component. They're also expanding the Microsoft partnership. I did not hear or remember a whole lot about this part, but the Microsoft Fabric is becoming part of the Tableau environment and a little bit more tightly coupled to streamline some of the things that you may do in the Microsoft environment. Data Connect, it is available now as an add-on. Basically, I think, and Oksana, you may know more about the Tableau cloud side than I do to be able to speak about this if you have, but essentially, it seems as though this is another type of a bridge or a help to a bridge to be able to connect to data and put everything seamlessly in one place. So there were about 6,000 individuals that came to the 3 days in San Diego. I know that there were some, I was there. There were some other individuals that I met during the meetups and things like that that were there as well. It was a pretty good event. Like I said, over 6,000 individuals. It was huge venue. A lot of good stuff going on. They did announce that it's going to be in San Diego next year, so it should be a good time again. I encourage everybody to register early and get your hotels early, or else you're going to be walking 20 minutes from a hotel that is farther away. So definitely keep an eye out for next year. I think it'll be a very exciting thing. So hopefully we'll see you next year. I mentioned this last time. I just wanted to throw out here again that if you want some hands-on challenges, they do have now Tableau hands-on challenges on the Trailhead. So if you go in and you create an account, you can go through these challenges and hands-on experiences to learn a little bit more about Tableau. And then you get badges as you go along that shows about what you've done, what you've accomplished. All right, so that's my update for the Tableau stuff from the conference and things like that. If anybody else wants to say anything, you can go ahead and throw it in the chat for now, and we'll relay it and everybody will see it. But without further ado, I don't want to spend too much time because we do have a lot of content that we're going to try to fly through here, but want to take some time at the end as well for the Q&A. So I'm going to turn over the first part here to Oksana. So I'm going to stop sharing, let her start working through the Tableau Mapping 101.
Thank you so much, Chris. Let me know if you can see my screen right now.
Yep, good to go.
Okay. Well, hello everyone again, and welcome. It's so exciting to see you today. I'm going just to show you or try to give you as much information as I can about mapping, Tableau Mapping 101. And I try to really kind of focus and tailor all the information for public safety agencies. And I will be building things from scratch. So, hang with me there. But I wanted to see you struggle because a lot of presentations, you attend them and everything is so nice and easy to do. And then when you start doing it, right, and then you're like, oh, they didn't have this issue and how do I solve it? So hopefully we can address some of these issues today. So this is just a quick agenda. As Chris mentioned, I'm going to go and talk a little bit about Tableau mapping and some of the maps that they have. And then we're going to start working with Chicago crime data. And I'm going to show you the mapping workspace in Tableau. We're going to build a basic map. I'm going to show you formatting and styling that you can do. And then we're going to see spatial connections that Tableau has. And we're going to start bringing some shape files for Chicago, for the city of Chicago, such as community areas, districts, and beats. And I'll show you how you can connect them with regular crime data. I'll show you how to use the spatial join to do it and map layers. And then if we have some time left, I will demonstrate some of the spatial functions that Tableau has right now, which are amazing. And then Chris can at least hopefully speak a little bit about custom shape files, utilizing custom shape files, and we can kind of brainstorm about the next steps. Okay. So Tableau mapping allows users to visualize geographic data and spatial relationships, and is great at it. It's very, it's very intuitive and easy to use. Tableau supports various map types, including symbol maps, field maps, density maps, and more. So to begin with, I wanted to showcase some of the visuals of these maps if you are not familiar with them. So this is, for example, proportional symbol maps. And you can see the image on the screen. So these maps are great for showing quantitative data for individual locations. So for public safety, for example, you can plot different type of crime incidents across a city and size them accordingly to the frequency of incidents, right? Or maybe to the severity of incidents. So you will be able in Tableau to build something like that, and you can really see where crime incidents occur, and then the size, for example, in this case, the size of the dot, right, of the circle, will show you the frequency of the incidents. Maybe you look at the burglaries, right, or carjackings and things like that. So this is symbol maps. They also have something called field maps or choropleth maps. And these are great for showing ratio data. For example, if you want to see homicide rates for every county across the United States, or maybe you're looking at your particular states, you want to look at every county, or you're looking at your city, right? If you want to look at every community area, you might consider this type of choropleth map to see if you can spot any special trends. So here they're using the color, and you can see the darker color represents the higher number. Let's say, if in our case it's a homicide rate, right? The darker orange color represents counties with higher number of homicides. So that's kind of, again, very visual, very easy to understand, something to put together. They also have something called point distribution maps. Point distribution maps can be used when you want to show approximate locations and are looking for visual clusters of data. So for example, if you want to see the distribution of crime incidents in a city over the past year, you can create a point distribution map to see if you can spot any clusters. So the points, right, will cluster around, and when we did something like that at the Chicago Police Department, and it's very similar to the next step. Next map, I'm going to show you the density maps. So, but when you create those cluster maps, it can really tell you a story. So when we did it with the carjacking data at the Chicago Police Department, we saw that the clusters were around the freeways, the highways, right? So when somebody, carjacks a car, they really need to escape really quickly. So we saw the clusters near those areas, which makes sense. But it's great how the maps, such as point distribution maps and then also density maps, can show us that. So these are density maps. We'll build one hopefully today. Density maps, also called heat maps, can be used when you want to show a trend for visual clusters of data. For example, if you want to find out which areas of a city have the most carjackings, you can create a density map to see which areas have the highest number of incidents. Flow maps, I love these ones. You can use flow maps to connect paths across a map and to see where something went over time. For instance, you can track the response routes of emergency vehicles during a large-scale disaster event in a city, illustrating how resources were deployed and where they concentrated over time. And I think things like that, maps like that, can really help with emergency responses or planning, future planning, to analyze response effectiveness and optimize future strategies. Spider maps. In public safety context, I believe spider maps are valuable for illustrating interactions between an origin location and multiple destination locations. For instance, you can use a spider map to visualize the paths taken by, again, emergency response teams from the base to various incident locations throughout the city. And again, this helps to demonstrate the efficiency of response routes and highlights areas where response times may need to be improved, right? And I can share this presentation with everyone, so you can always go back and kind of recheck and look at some of these examples and see, okay, so we have this kind of data, maybe which map is going to be the best for us. But today I really wanted to do some hands-on and show you how things are done. And I'm going to start working with the Chicago crime data. Chris, please let me know if you still can see my screen.
Yep.
Okay. So I just want to show you really quickly that Chicago has open data portal where you can find all the data. And here, what I went and I typed Chicago crime 2023. And Chicago, actually, if you need some data to work with, Chicago has data that you can download from 2001 to present, but this is a huge data set, and I'm just not gonna do it today because we won't be able to build anything, right? It takes a long time to download everything. But what I did go and downloaded that crimes 2023 data, and just to showcase how we can build a basic map using a crime data. It doesn't have to be a special data source, right? You might be just connecting to your regular incident data in, it can be in a CSV file, or in a lot of times probably for you it's going to be maybe in one of your SQL data warehouses, one of the tables. So, and I just want to demonstrate for you what can be done about it. All right, let me just go. I'm going to open my Tableau desktop. And when you open your Tableau desktop, usually that's where it brings you. You will have to connect to one of the data. And I believe mine is a text file. Let me just come. Okay, so this is the CSV file for crimes 2023. Okay. Okay, so it's here. Tableau brought it in for me. And so this is under the data source, and then I can click on sheet 1, and I can rename it Chicago crime, and start potentially building my map, right? I always encourage you to kind of go and maybe look at some of the data fields, right? When you bring your data in, making sure that that's the correct table or that's the correct file you're looking for. But I can see right away that I do have some geographic fields in here. I have some latitude and longitude. Okay, so if you are new to Tableau, I wanted to show you quickly this, that Tableau has the mapping workspace, right? And you will be able to see, so we will have the data pane on the left. So it's kind of under number 1. Then we'll have, oh, you don't see it here, but it's like over here, right? Let me see, show over here. So this is our data pane right here. And then we will have the marks card, number 2. We will have our view toolbar, the map menu on top, the columns and rows, we will be bringing our latitude and longitude, and then, of course, the visualization. So let me go back to my Tableau desktop. So again, we have this data pane in here, and let me see. So I'm to build my basic map, right? So you're connected to a table, and maybe your captain asks you, like, we need to really see the map with some crime data on it. What you can do, you have this latitude and longitude. All you have to do, you can drag them and drop them into rows or columns, or you're not sure where to drag and drop them. All you need to do is just double click on latitude and double click on longitude, okay? And then make sure you select under the marks card. Right now it's automatic, but we want to make sure we go and select map. Okay, And then we need to give Tableau a little bit more information. So maybe we're going to bring our case number or UID number into detail under the marks card and see what happens. Whoa, can you see with just 3 clicks, you were able to build this map already. Let me just go hover over and you can see your case number for 2023, and you can see the location, your latitude and longitude. Maybe it's a little bit too much, so maybe let's see if we can find, okay, we have primary type in here. We put them into the filters, right? There is a filters card in here where you can filter the data you're working with. Maybe let's select just the burglaries, right? A lot of times that you have questions about the burglaries. I'm just going to select the burglaries, right? So it's a little bit better. And again, we can maybe do a few other things. Maybe we can bring something into color. I can see we have the arrest field here, so we can maybe drag and drop the arrest into the color. We can also drag and drop arrest into the filters. Okay, and we can show our primary type filter. And I'm going to click on the arrow down, and it's say multiple values drop down, so I can see my filter in here and see that I only selected burglary for this data set. And then I'm going to show arrest filter too. And then I'm also going to click on the arrow down, select multiple values drop down, and then I can play with that. I just say, okay, show me only those data points where the arrest occurred, or maybe don't show me them. Okay. So that's again just how easy, and you can already kind of provide this data, to your command staff. We can bring, so when you hover over in Tableau, right, you can see there is something called tooltip that pops out, and it has this additional information. So here we can see our case number, the location, we can see if the arrest occurred or not, and you can rename a lot of those things, or instead of false, it can say yes or no, it's not a problem. But maybe we can add also location description. Okay, and you can really edit and format your tooltip by just clicking. Let me show you again on the tooltip and see everything you have. Maybe I want for the case number to be first, right? And then I maybe have my did I arrest occur, yes or not? And then I have my location. And again, if you hover over, you'll see this this information. So case number, and then arrest, and then location description was the resident. And you can bring a lot more information in the tooltip, and you can also bring many other fields in the filters to filter by FBI code, maybe if it was domestic or other description. So this data set is pretty small. I know when you connect to your incident data, right, for your weekly reports or for your CompStat reports, you have lots of fields in there. So you can really play with that. But I just, again, wanted to show you really quickly how easy it is to build something and then even present and say, let me show you where all the burglaries, where all the burglaries happen for 2023. Of course, we can bring the date into the filter. Let me bring the date in here. And I really like this relative date feature in Tableau right now, if you haven't used that much, but I want to show it to you. Can you see this? So instead of doing, remember in the past, we have to do some of these calculations, years, quarters, months, weeks, days, hours, or minutes. Now in Tableau, you can actually just bring that date field into the filter, choose the relative dates, and then here you can, play with that. You can say years, last 3 years. Yes, we only have 2023, but if you're connecting to your data sets from 2001, then you can really indicate what you're looking for in here. And then you can show that filter, and then when you're presenting it again, if they say, but what about, we would like to look at the last months or the last 3 days or weeks, it's very easy, right? The filter right here, and you just by click of the mouse, you just change it, and it's all changed here. So for example, for us, it's probably a previous year, right? So, and you can play with that. Okay, so what else can you do in here? So we can, one of the things we can do, the density map that I showed you earlier. Okay, and see, in our case, we're looking again at burglaries for 2023. See where, can you see that kind of, what a difference, right? When we just looking at the point map, basic versus the heat map, we can see a little different story right away. You can also change the color. I really like this temperature divergent color in here. Because again, you can see the story very quickly where the higher numbers of incidents kind of are clustering. And I feel like this is fantastic for just spending a few minutes, and you can copy and paste it, or you can in Tableau export as PowerPoint and send it to your command staff immediately, right? Of course, you can also do a bar chart next to it, or a table, just to provide a little bit more tabular data, but it's not about this right now. But I will always encourage, right, to supplement maybe the map with some additional information. Okay, let me show you. Okay, this is again our data pane. We have our visualization, and here, this is where you can zoom in and zoom out. There is also a search button in here. You can do some other zoom area. And so different functions, and you hover over here, you can really play with your map. One of the main functions that you have here is here on top of the menu. If you click on the map, you can see that we have multiple background maps in Tableau. Right now it's light, but you can select normal. And a lot of, I know a lot of users really like normal. There are also different other options like street, right? And so on and so forth. But then you also have map options. You can click or unclick if you want to show map search, show layer control, show view toolbar, so you can kind of play with that here. And in Tableau, I always say, don't be afraid to click on things, to play with things, because once you connect to your data, right, if it's a CSV file, or if it's even if your database, you're not changing anything in the original data source. Don't be afraid of anything. And here, if something is not working, so again, your original data stays as is. If here something is not working, you can always close out of this Tableau desktop, open another one. There is also a fantastic undo button here in the menu when you can go back a couple of steps if something is not working. So don't be afraid to kind of play again. Like if you like, okay, what are the map options? Go click on it and then check and see what's happening. But one option I would like to show you here is the background layers. And that's where you're going to be, again, having a lot of options. Right now, it's showing us the style again. Maybe you'll want to switch it to dark. I don't really usually recommend it, but I know some people really like dark. And you can click on the color here in the marks card. And you can kind of make it a little bit darker. You know, you can choose the color of the things. And here, if you click on the washout, you can make the dark not as dark, a little bit grayer, right? Okay, and here you can, if you look down, you'll be able to see various other background maps. Let me just go back to light so we can see the background a little bit better, but you can just click and see maybe terrain, coastline, there is one, zip code boundaries, okay, zip code labels. You can really play to see if there is something that you want to show, if you don't want to show, can cities, if something makes sense or not. Some people really like clean maps, but anyway, so this is something to kind of play with under, again, this is map background layers. And and this panel comes out, and you can change and have different options here to really customize how the map looks. Okay, we're running out of time. I'm going to go back to my presentation, but anyway, this is your basic point map in Tableau without connecting to any special files, right? I just connected to that crime data set, and I was able to create this map. So hopefully this was helpful. Okay. And this is just a little bit, if we're going to share the presentation with you, hopefully you can kind of go back and try maybe this on your own. Again, don't forget that you can enhance your map by bringing more things into details using tooltips and filters. And then by formatting, you can do different formatting, use different color palettes and things like that. All right, so let's look at some of the spatial files. So next, right, you're talking about like, okay, show me some of the spatial files that you can connect with. I would like to show them for you for sure. So a lot of times we're going to be connecting to shape files, but Tableau allows you to connect to various number of files. And I listed them for you here. You can see if one of them, that's something you're interested in. You should be able to connect to all of them. The only thing you should refer to Tableau documentation, and I inserted some of them here. So for each connection, Tableau has detailed documentation on their website. If you Google Tableau spatial files, or you can refer to this presentation. So make sure that these conditions are satisfied, or you might be getting errors. So I'm going to show you right now something called spatial join. I believe it was first introduced 2018. Don't quote me. I think that's what it was. What it does, it allows you to combine two spatial databases based on their geographic relationships. And unlike traditional joins that match data based on common fields, spatial joins match data based on the spatial relationship between geographic elements such as points, lines, or polygons, and we can match two geometries together, which is pretty exciting. And in this example, in what we're using right now, I'm going to show you how to join crime incidence data that we just used with the City of Chicago community areas shapefile. And you can find the shapefile on the same website here. So if you go and look community areas, just want to show you really quickly. It's called boundaries here. You click on it here. And when you click on export, one of the options is shapefile. So just download the shapefile and you will be able to connect to it. All right, so we now have our crime data, we have our community areas shapefile, and the next step, we're going to use that spatial join that I mentioned. Specifically, it's called intersects in Tableau. You'll be able, so you know how if you use Tableau before, you just, right, there's an equal sign, right, when you join two data sets. In this case, we're going to use a function called intersects. And let me show you some of the struggles. We come to the struggles that sometimes you can have. Okay, so let me go back to the data source. And let me bring so I'm going to add this spatial file, the community area spatial file. It's right here, okay? So it's this is the one, you just click on it, and double click on it, and let me show you what happens. Okay. Do you see what happened? Tableau brings it in, and you are maybe going down here and you're looking to see where's that special join is. Where's this intersect join? It doesn't exist in here. And if you have never used Tableau before, or if you used it before, we're talking about joins, right? You're looking for that Venn diagram to see if you can do left join, right join, outer join, inner join, and somehow here we don't have it. Well, just because Tableau really restructured how it's connecting to data. And I'm going to, and they have now something that they called logical layer versus physical layer. And I'm not going to go too much into that, but if you Google Tableau logical layer, you will be able to find this documentation, the Tableau data model documentation, that really describes in detail how the data is being connected in Tableau. And they tell you that when you first go under and look into your under data sources and you connect to your data sources, you are in the logical layer. And that's where you have your relationships, right? That noodle that you're using. And in order to be able to join files like we need to use the special join, you need to go into the physical layer. So the long story short, let me show you how to get to the physical layer. So I'm going to remove this special file. And I'm just connecting to the crimes data set. So all you need to do is you double click on this. And can you see it opens you a different window, and here you can exit out of it. And it says here that this specific table is made of one table. So let me see now if we can join here. Oh, yes. So we're now inside the physical layer, and it's made of two tables, and now it looks like we can join. But let me see if we have this, but I still don't see that intersects the special join, the 2018 invention that I mentioned, right? Like, where is it? How do we do it? Well, the fact is, let me go, and I'm sorry, I'm going back and forth. Hopefully that's kind of, it's easier to understand that we're not seeing that intersect join option just in the even though now we're in the physical layer and we can see the join possibilities, because intersect only available for two spatial files, and the first file we have is it's like a CSV file, right? And the second one, yes, it's our shape file, but we need to make sure that we convert that first our CSV file crime data set into the spatial file too. And luckily, it's pretty easy to do it in Tableau, and I have it in my presentation too. So what you need to do here, you need to use the make point calculation. So you're going to click here, select create join calculation, and select make point function. And you can see documentation here right away. It says this function returns a spatial object constructing from latitude and longitude, and that's what we need, right? We need for this to be a spatial object. So let's see, we know we have the latitude and longitude. Let me just see, just one more time. Oh, my apologies, yeah, because I don't know what happened. Let me just remove this. I did like something. Let me click out of this. Oh, this is crimes. I'm just going to remove this. Bring the crimes data again here. All right. The struggle is real, but I'm going to do it just for you. I mean, I have it all pre-built. I can just open it, but I wanted to show, yeah, because something when I was playing with that, right? Okay, so crimes, okay. And then I'm just gonna click on this shape file. Okay, so now I have my crimes data set here, and this is the community areas shape file. So let me create a join calculation for my crimes data set. And again, I'm going to use make point. And you can see documentation, I need to use latitude and latitude / longitude. Okay. All right. So I'm going to click OK. And then still no intersects here, just because I need to also indicate here what I'm going to use. I'm going to use geometry from my community areas shapefile. And now, ta-da, I have the intersects. Can you see, like, yeah, when you're not very familiar with that, right? Like, and you try to use it, it might be complicated, but once you use it once and you know that you need to use the make point calculation for your incident data, or, you know, for your regular data, and then choose the geometry for your shapefile, then it's much easier. Okay. So we're going to do the left join, for example, here. And now I can go back to open a new worksheet, and now I should be able to just click on that geometry. This is my community areas file. Double click on that. Okay. And now I have my community area here. I do need to bring something more in detail for in Tableau for it to know that it needs to separate that big blob. So I'm actually going to go and find my community area name, maybe bring it into a label, or you can bring it into detail. Okay, you're probably going to bring it, depends on how it needs to be displayed, but yeah, we can see these are, now we can hover over. Let me just bring that into detail so it's not, right? So we can see it now, what's happening in here. And then maybe we can, so anyway, so now we were able to bring our, join our crime. Oh, yes, of course, we need to bring the numbers, right? We need to know the number of incidents for each community area. So let me just find, again, we can use case number or ID number, you know, make sure we're always double check. Okay. And just give it a few seconds. And I know we are already at 350, so I might just show you something else really quickly here, map layers that I really would like for you to see. So let me just make sure this is count distinct. So I'm counting all those case numbers per each community area in here. Okay, so now can you see when we hover over, we can see the number of distinct case numbers for each community area. So for 2023, we know that, for example, in Humboldt Park, the number of incidents, crime incidents, was 6,963. Okay, so let me show you again. So, but that was just, this is again our, and you can look at the documentation again. So we looked and saw that Tableau now has a couple of layers. So we need to go to the physical layer, make sure you do it, because initially when you go and look, it's the logical layer. So we're in our logical layer 2. Look, we only have our community area file, but what if your commander or your captain wants to look not just at the community areas, but they also want to look at the districts, and they also want to look at bits. If you used Tableau before, you know that we needed to duplicate longitude and latitude, and then to bring various layers here. You don't need to do this any longer, fortunately, in Tableau. Let me show you why. And I think because we are running out of time really badly, I'm just going to show you here that I brought 2 more shape files. And I did the same way. So when I brought the bits, I just made sure that when the crimes data, I used that make point calculation, and then I connected to geometry and bits, and the same for districts. So now we have bits, we have community areas, we have districts. Okay, so let me show you. I'm going to start maybe with districts. Okay, I'm going to build the map of districts. I'm going to bring district number into the detail for right now. Okay. All right. And now the magic. So the next one is going to be bits. And instead of duplicating anything in here, all you have to do is to drag. And can you see that option appears? Add a marks layer. Isn't that amazing? So let me show again. So these are districts. Let me drag the bits, and I'm going to put it in here. So now we have 2 layers. And let me play with the colors here a little bit so you can see a little bit more. And maybe I do the districts, the borders red, so you can see. Let me just play a little bit with that in color. I'm just again do the opacity to 0. Maybe I'll do these borders red, and then the district borders, I'm going to make them black or maybe blue, right? And you can also try to put different, you can try to kind of move different layers into different locations. Okay, so maybe this is a little bit better. So now we can see our district layer and we can see our bits layer overlaying together. Let's also bring the community area shapefile. Let me find it. Okay, so geometry is here for the community area. Again, all you have to do is to drag and drop. And now we have 3rd layer with community area. And I'm going to bring the community name into the details. Okay. And again, I can just get rid from the opacity in here. And use maybe again a different color just to kind of see a little bit more, and you can play with that just so it makes more sense. Sometimes maybe it makes sense or not. And then the last layer I wanted to bring in here is I wanted to create that calculated field for crimes. Spatial. So I'm going to do that make point in here. And I'm going to do again latitude and longitude. Okay. And I'm going to also bring it into the layer. Okay. And now we can see, and I'm going to bring the case number into the details. Add all members. Should have probably, but let it work through it. Hopefully, it's not going to take. Okay, so yeah, let me just maybe go and find our primary type again, and only select burglary in here. So it's a little bit okay, and then maybe we just do okay. So these are burglaries for 2023. One of the things that we can do now, because we can also see the case number, right? But when you hover over, you want to know all that information just brought in. So let's bring the bit number into the tooltip. Okay, so now we have the bit number. Let's bring the district number into the tooltip. So now we have bit number, district number, and let's bring our community name into the tooltip. And you have this one too. Can you see? So this is, I feel like this is amazing. So you can have all this information right here. You are able to do a few things in here. If you click on this option, if you hover over, there is control map layers option. If you click on it, you can unclick some of the layers. So if it's too much, and please, I don't have time right now, but you would rename them so you know this is districts, this is bits, and so on and so forth. but we can leave them on. But you can, the great thing, yeah, you can uncheck right here. So if somebody, you know, if you're looking, you're like, okay, this is too much. I really want to only look at districts or community areas. You can just uncheck and show it to them. Let me show you. We can also zoom in. Okay. Let's zoom in here. Okay, we can zoom in here just to see more. And again, you have over in the tooltip, you can write the whole stories in there, right? And we can have a these in the tooltip, and we can do so many things. But today it's about kind of Tableau mapping 101. But let me just make sure also maybe I can bring make sure we can see the names. Maybe the community area should be able. Oh, yeah. So this is the Jefferson Park. So I'm bringing some more information into the labels. So for example, we want to also make, while we zoom in, we want to see some additional information. So this is the district number. So maybe we'll bring the district in here. See. Okay, so we can see some district, and you can obviously right, play with that. Just make sure that you can in Tableau you can format in so many ways. So it's like I cannot see where is that district. You can see it's like district 17 right here. These are community areas. It's all in one place because of this fantastic map layering and spatial join capabilities that Tableau have right now. And then of course the beats, right? Because that's what a lot of times when we work with our foreign personnel, or if you are one of them, thank you so much for all your hard work. Appreciate it. So we can bring that into the text so we can see it here. And there is much more because now you have all of this data combined, right? Let me go back to the data source. So we have our crimes. Let me go back inside the physical layer. Yeah, we have all this data combined in here, joined in here, so you will be able to do so much more. Okay, I know we are running completely out of time. Let me go back to my presentation really quickly here. Okay, so we talked about the intersect joined. We talked about joining crime incidents. We talked about map layers, right? I showed you how you can join different special files. Okay. And then we also, on top of all of this, right? Again, we can, if you just need the basic map, you can do it. If you need those multiple layers, you can do it. But Tableau also now have those various functions. And I don't know if I should continue with that because, you know, one of the like make point function that I already showed you, right? When we actually create a point using latitude and longitude, but there are a few others. But Chris, let me know if you would like me just to stop right here and you can just take over and maybe talk a little bit more about, you know, next steps, or maybe see we can take some questions and answers. Questions, I'm sorry, questions at this point.
Sure, yeah. So we have another half an hour scheduled.
Okay.
You definitely want to get some Q&A if there is any. I know there were a couple questions in the chat that I was trying to take care of and answer while you were going along. So as you go through this next part of maybe 10 minutes,
Okay.
we can get through this. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start allowing individuals to unmute themselves so we can start that Q&A in about 10 minutes if that works. And then I just want to give a sneak preview of the stuff that I was going to preview and show as a teaser for you to come back and see some more of the cool stuff we could do with Tableau and mapping. So I'm going to start unchecking everybody so they can start speaking. And if we can just do this one last section, probably about 10 minutes, and then we'll go from there.
Sounds great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hear more about what Chris is going to be doing because it's really fantastic. But I just wanted to show you a couple of functions that you can explore. And if you, again, Google Tableau has a really great documentation and of course community with lots of videos and stuff. But if you come to special functions in here, you can go through them and you can look through and really maybe see what applies to your case. But they have area function, they have buffer, they have distance, they have intersects. That's what we write this today. They have make point, they have make line, length, outline, shape type, and so on and so forth. So please come here and they give you the calculations that you need to use here. But because we only have a few minutes, let me show you a couple of functions. So the one of them, first one is the called area special function. So what is the area function? The area function in Tableau calculates the area of a given polygon in a specific special reference system, useful to analyzing the size of geographic regions directly within Tableau. So in our case, for example, by using this function, we can really, and you can, I think it's miles, kilometers, like a couple of few options. You can see what is the size of maybe that community area, right? You can see it on map, but then you'll see the number in miles. And it's great for allocating resources. So, right, like maybe when you're presenting it, you can see, okay, you can do a bar chart and see by miles, these are our community areas. And maybe we know or by bits, this is the largest bit and we need more people to cover it and so on. So the function is area, and let me show you really quickly here. So this is our community area map. Let me just create this calculated field. Community area. Okay. And then I'm just gonna select that area function, and then I need to make sure I go and I just see geometry. I think it's just the geometry in here, and then we just indicate that we would like to see it in miles. Okay, and then if we bring that calculation in the text, we should see the numbers in miles for each community area. So that's the goal. Okay. And the numbers are a bit crazy because there is a sum here. So I'm just going to choose the minimum because I think I might have multiple duplicate records that are creating this issue. So this is a very cool function, but I just want to show it to you, but also give you a warning that I found that the accuracy of calculation really depends on the quality of that special file that you're using. And even then, when I compared some of the results with with Google, or it wasn't always the same number. So always double check when you use the obviously calculations in Tableau before presenting or sharing this information. Is it calculating correctly, right? But this is pretty cool. We now not just see visually the size of this community area, but we can see the number of miles. Okay, so this is the function called area function. And the last one, and I'll turn it over to Chris. I really like this make line function. I don't think I can I won't be able to build it for you today. It just takes a little bit long, but I would like to tell it to you. The make line function is where you can actually create a line between different points. And I'm sorry, this is some misspellings in here, but I'll correct them. So it allows you to create lines or paths between points on a map based on specific geographic coordinates. So it draws a line between 2 points to visualize connection or routes. And I'm very excited about this one because I think you can use it for so many things in public safety. So you can plot the path between crime incident locations, maybe in police stations coverage areas. You can use it to connect accident locations with traffic control points or emergency services. But I was even thinking, and I'm done, so I'm going to stop sharing. I was also thinking that the make line may be something. Let's see, you have like in Illinois, or across the country, we have really big problems carjackings right now. If you have the information about where the cars, where the incidents happen, but then also the lat and long, the geographical information of where the cars were recovered, you can do those lines and maybe see again the clusters, right? You can see maybe all the cars are being, or not all of the cars, I should say, but some of the cars, most of the cars are being recovered in this area, or they dropped or they left right in that area, and maybe see what's around there, why is it happening. So I feel like make line is a really great option, but also there are several other special functions that we can cover again a little bit more maybe next time, and we can build something more exciting. Okay, I think that's all I have for today. I'm going to turn it over, I guess, to Chris, and we'll go from there.
All right, awesome. Thank you, Oksana. I know that we're trying to throw a lot into very little bit of time, but Tableau has so many different mapping features now, and they've come such a long way to be able to show some of this. It gets kind of lengthy and time consuming. So we're definitely going to have another session on this. I do want to share my screen real quick and just give you a sneak peek on some of the things that we want to get to and talk about if there is interest in doing it as well. I did unlock everybody so you can open up your mics if you wanted to and be able to look at things and ask questions. But one of the things that I wanted to touch real quick, somebody had asked in the chat about custom maps, right, and custom shapefiles. So I can tell you that you can find a lot of these shapefiles already built for you. If you're state or county level individuals or even law enforcement agencies have already created some of these areas, patrol zones, beats, counties, things like that. I have an example here. I use QGIS for a lot of the stuff that I do to build the actual shapefiles. And if you can tell, the green lines are the county boundaries for the state of Maryland, and those county boundaries were built by the State Highway Administration. So I'm able to very easily grab something that I'll have to build myself to do. However, I did build a custom shapefile for barrack locations. And those barrack locations, they're purple, so they're kind of hard to see at times. But what I did was I built shapefile that surrounded the barrack parking lots and the barrack property. And we're able to intersect them with that to be able to identify things like incidents that occurred at the barrack lot. Probably shouldn't have been there, should have been somewhere on a roadway or somewhere in the state, but they were geocoding it improperly. So we use this type of a thing with shapefiles that we create custom shapefiles to be able to do stuff like that. We have a DDAX program. These green areas that are roadways within here, these were custom built shapefiles in this program and then just exported to a shapefile that we can intersect with data. So for instance, if I wanted to create a new DDAX area, I would just open up my edit tool and I would be able to sit here and create basically a custom location by just dragging and clicking all around. And then I can identify different areas of that. So it has all that data involved. So I can put on the barrack name, I can put in a county, I can put in a beat, I can do all that kind of information. So it's tied to that shapefile in that area. And then you bring it into Tableau and you can intersect it with any geo point lines or anything else that's in there, so you can see the intersect. So I wanted to show that real quick as to how you can build custom files, because there was a question specifically about that inside the chat. And then I did want to show just a real quick preview on some of the stuff that I was going to show you, how to create files. One of them would be a hex bin file, and I know this is popular with looking at different areas of different states, counties, cities, and where the sort of grouping the dots together, right? So instead of looking at each individual dot, you can group them into a hex bin, and then you can have those as standard 1 mile, half a mile, 2 mile radius, whatever, and you can then see each one. So what I wanted to show real quick was I always grab the OpenStreetMap background. It's just easy for me to do this. And like I said, I'm using QGIS to do this. I have been able to create a hex bin for the state of Maryland by bringing in a known shapefile for US boundaries. And then I filter that, and I can filter it by the state abbreviation. And again, I'm doing this really quick because I don't want to spend a lot of time now, but we can certainly have an entire session talking about this. So you see now I have my state of Maryland border. Now I can go into built-in tools from QGIS, which I can create a grid, and that grid can be anything between points and lines, rectangles, but I'm going to use a hexagon. And then I can say I want to make this calculated from my US boundary. So I only want to create hexagons in the extent that this US map or the Maryland area of the map is. And then I can say, how big do I want those areas, right? So I'm going to change this to miles. So I want 1 mile hex bins. So I'm going to run that. And what you notice what it did is it gave me this grid. And if I zoom in, there were a whole bunch of hexes, right? All the way across the state of Maryland, but it's a big square. So now what I want to do is I want to say, well, I just want to look at state of Maryland, right? I don't need anything outside of it. So I can then go back into the vector tools and I can clip anything that's outside of it. So I can use the input layer as a grid, and I can use the US state boundaries again. And when I run this, it's going to take a little bit of time because it doesn't have spatial indexes. But now you notice you can see out of here, we have a grid of the state of Maryland. And if I take out that big grid, now I've got hex bins that literally border the state of Maryland, which is pretty cool, pretty quick, pretty easy. Yes, you can do hex binning straight in Tableau. The benefit of this, though, is my hex bins don't move when you zoom in and zoom out. If anybody's ever done anything with Tableau in the hex bins, it is a bit of a bear sometimes, because your zoom in, zoom out basically takes those hex bins apart. It doesn't dynamically change. So this sets it at 1 mile intervals, and I can see now my hotspots. This is crash data for a specific county, and I can see my hotspots. So talking about hex binning, that's one of the things that I want to talk about and show later on. We talked about patrol zones. They're very simple, very high level, but you can add things to it with other sheets inside of it, so you can see things within the patrol areas. And then the last thing that I was going to show is the line densities, right? Hex bins are great, but then taking that and putting them into the roadways and seeing the distinct counts of crashes on specific line segments and things like that. You can go that level as well by intersecting with roadway data, and then being able to see the density of crashes and how many crashes based off the color coding and things like that, size of it, whatever. But this was a county with number of crashes on segments that were already there from the State Highway Administration for roadway level data, that we're able to just intersect very easily. The other two things that I was going to show was custom maps outside of Tableau's mapping of geo coordinates. If you have an XY coordinate, you can map anything. So this would be like mapping an office and people where they sit. And you could use this. This was popular back when COVID started out. We wanted to start spacing people. You can take blueprints of buildings, anything that really has an XY coordinate, create the XY coordinates in an outside external program, and then add them into this. So these are the points of like locations within the offices. And then I created also paths and using lines the same similar way to be able to show exits, right? How do people exit from each individual office or something like that? And then you can actually combine the two in a way to be able to have different shapes and lines all on one map and all one way. So you can sort of build out these things with different blueprints, different plans. So again, trying to use it for different purposes of building layouts and things. You can certainly load in different types of layers, so to speak, on XY coordinates and show these pretty cool custom maps. Then the last thing I was going to show is being able to use this data for things like use of force. Our use of force application has points on a person that the use of force was used. So we can use a mapping function to be able to put all those points on there. And then if I wanted to, bring it down a little bit so you can actually see what those points are, I can look at it by county and we can integrate it with the other data. So if I wanted to look at all the use of forces that were parts of the head, then I can see that and I can see what they tracked, if it was effective or not, the age and the years of the employment of the officer, what years it was, anything else other than the data. But you can use this to map on an image to be able to show that and then interact with that. So more to come on that. We'd love to have that as part of a discussion later on, if anybody's interested in it, obviously. And then just open it up right now for Q&A for anything that anybody has that they'd like to see, anything we missed, anything you didn't understand that we might be able to answer. And then, like I said, I'd love to have another session with some of these more advanced mappings and really get into how they're built instead of just showing you saying, look what Tableau can do. We really want to give you the ability to do it as well with your data.
Yeah, I agree with Richard. The use of force, I've never seen something like that. I know one of the maps you showed, like for the, I know the Cook County Sheriff's Office, they use similar for like the in jails, right? To see like to map like the whole floors and then see where maybe some incidents, the fights were happening, and so they were able to react more, respond better, better prepare their staff. But yeah, the use of force is really amazing.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, so let us know in the comments if you would like to have part 2 of the mapping. Maybe it was, where Chris can have much more time and go more into details and show you how things are built. Oh.
So the question, Aaron, and I don't know if you guys can unmute. You're more than welcome to and go ahead and ask. But just a quick thing about that. So the application that we use actually has the officer click on the body, that actual image, as to where the location was. So it's not by like arm, head, torso, things like that. It's by specific location. So if we drilled in even further, obviously if the officer collected it, it would be specific to that location as close as possible. So I can tell you, looking at that data and using that data, individuals put a mark on the face for when visual or audio, like commands are being given, and they consider that use of force when the little box between the people is supposed to be non-contact use of force. So we've seen that because officers are putting it up on the face. They're saying that they yelled at them. So they're putting it up there. But yeah, it's pretty cool that the application has those XY coordinates built in, and it's multiple use of force locations per incident. So we can actually go down to a case level and see all the different use of force and which ones were effective and which ones were not effective even, because that's another piece of capture in there. Hope that answered that.
Was that QGIS application that's open to the public?
Yeah, so QGIS is a free open source GIS. That's one of the reasons why we use it more than we do Esri, but everything that I did in that can also be done in Esri. I'm sure there's other ones, but QGIS is a pretty simple program. I can tell you that there's a lot of people that use that for that purpose. You can pull in shape files, you can create the shape files. You can even export to different things like geodatabase instead of shape files. So even if you need to do it in any other sort of a format for whatever you're trying to pull it in, QGIS is pretty powerful in that sense, yeah. And I can share some Maryland things if you need.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yep.
Well, I think a few people definitely said part 2 would be great, so we can, work on something together.
Absolutely. Anything else from the group? Anything you want to offer?
And meanwhile, I just want to thank everyone for coming. I know it's like an hour and a half of your time, and I know a lot of you are extremely busy, and it's so fantastic to see some familiar names. You know, Aaron had a question, and Aaron is a fabulous analyst from Chicago Police Department. If the recording for part.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's why we recorded, as Chris said, because some of the sessions maybe we're not going to be recording, depends on the sensitivity of the information and the preference of the presenter. Oh, also, I think, right, Chris, if somebody would like to present during one of the next sessions, we would love to have you. And you can see it's a small group here. We're very encouraging. It's only for public safety. We don't just accept everyone. And so please let us know. Please reach out to Chris or to me, and yeah, please let us know if you would like to share some of the fantastic use cases, not just for mapping, just in general using data for public safety use cases. That would be great. This way we can all learn and share the knowledge.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I appreciate everybody's time. Please spread the word. We are a new group, but I think that there's a lot of value in this group. I think there's a lot of value in the people that have been on this group for the last 2 calls. And I think that there's a lot that we can do and share and improve the use of Tableau in the public safety sector. I do want to mention, and I know there are a couple on here from like DOT and things like that may deal with crash data and things, but if you have individuals nearby that use Tableau or are interested in using Tableau in EMS and fire, we really want to get them involved as well. And there's been a little bit there that has anything for it, but most of us are backgrounds in law enforcement. I really do want to see some EMS and fire stuff too. I think that would be really interesting. So if you guys know anybody, please spread the word, have them sign up on the user groups to get the next notice. We're trying to hold this quarterly, and if need be, or if anybody wants to, we can do it certainly more than that. But I think quarterly is a good rate of doing this right now until we maybe have more presentations and more input and more feedback from individuals. But absolutely looking forward to the next few. I'll be putting out a message soon as to when the next one's going to be. All right.